The city of Stafford has a message about safe Halloween practices this year.
This year is somewhat different than any other year we've ever had, um, and it's because of our current COVID-19 pandemic. For parents who are not comfortable having their kids go out trick or treating, I can perfectly understand that. But I think that there's parents that want to, have their kids experience what they experienced, what I experienced as a child, and I think there's a way to do that safely. So what I decided to do was to put out information for those who really want to go out and celebrate Halloween in the tradition that we're accustomed to here. Um, but I wanted to make sure that it was done safely, and just taking the necessary precautions. Basically, it has to do with social distancing, wearing masks, and hand hygiene, and basically how we go about, trick or treating. I think in the first place, leaving out a bowl out, I think, should be discouraged because the kiddos will, stick their hands in the candy and move around, and that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to minimize hand contact from strangers. And so the best thing is to not put a bowl out there where other people are just sticking their hands in there and grabbing stuff. So there's better ways to approach that than to just put out candy. With respect to gloves, I think that gloves are more of a hindrance than a help. By that I mean when people wear gloves, they're usually touching a lot of surfaces, usually unconsciously, or unintentionally touching surfaces they shouldn't be touching, and probably even their face. I don't see much benefit in using gloves. I think better than that, good hand hygiene is the best way to go. I think, if at all possible, parents need to try to keep these groups small. After 4 or 5 kids, it's kind of hard to corral and manage eager children wanting to go to the houses and collect as much candy as they can. Sometimes it becomes competition. I know that we did that when I was growing up. We wanted to see who could collect the most candy. So we knew that the more houses we hit, the better our chances were to grab a lot of candy. The problem with that is that it tends to be very chaotic, where groups are running into each other. So the best thing to do is to separate the groups, let the group before you pass onto the next house before you move your group in. And again, try to keep the group small. Parents can usually manage 4 to 5 kids at a time without a problem. After that, I think it may become unmanageable. The other issue is the people that decide to want to have parties, usually the older kids or young adults or whatever, to make sure that they can do that safely. And when you invite people to parties, I would suggest that if if you're sick, don't don't show up at a party. I don't care what your symptoms are. If you're sick, it's better just to stay home. It's safe and best for everybody. I think that the party should be small. We do recommend less than 10 people in any party setting. Um, it's like I point out in my article, it's very hard to practice social distancing or even wearing a mask when you're mingling about and eating and drinking and laughing and whatever. So it becomes to be a problem. So if you want to limit it to smaller groups, you want to make sure that the party setting that you have is sufficiently big and spacious to accommodate the party. Um, you want to make sure that there's stuff around like hand sanitizers, that your food is covered appropriately, like food bins or even sneeze guards or cough guards. And I think if you're hosting a party, help your guests out. Some people forget to bring in their masks, then have some handy for them. Make sure that they have hand sanitizer dispensers available, that there's enough hand soap, they know where the restrooms are. You want to show them that you care and that you want to make it a safe and fun party. So I think that's what I was really trying to get, is there is a way of doing this if people take the right precautions and do things safely.